All right, we are gonna get started. All right. We'll let the folks trickle in. But with that said, hi and welcome into the next webinar in our Plantae webinar series. My name is Jason Padilla, and I'm your technical host for today's webinar. This webinar series is brought to you by Plantae, the open online community for plant scientists powered by the American Society of Plant Biologists. Next slide. I would like to give a special thank you to all our ASPB members who are attending today's webinar. Your ASPB membership dues help support making this webinar possible. For any of you who have not yet joined ASPB, you can join today and use the discount code %10 to receive a 10% discount on your membership fee. ASPB members get early access to these webinars and many more additional benefits. You can learn more about ASPB and the opportunities we provide at aspb.org. Next slide, please. In addition, please be sure to check out the Plantae YouTube channel, where you can find many other exciting talks. This webinar is recorded and will later be shared on our YouTube channel, so you could rewatch, pass along, and share with your friends and colleagues. Next slide, please. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items to make sure that you get the most out of your attendance today. If you are experiencing technical issues, please let me know about those by emailing me at jpadilla@aspb.org. If you have questions for our guest speakers, please add them in the Zoom Q&A section. Our moderator will be sharing them with our presenters during the Q&A. If you have trouble connecting or need to leave the webinar early, as I mentioned, this webinar is recorded and will be made available on our Plantae YouTube channel. So you can be sure to check those out later on. And if you're not already signed up, you should sign up so that you can receive notification from when we post new contents. All right, so without further ado, I am now going to turn it over to our moderators who will be facilitating today's session. So take it away, Plantae Fellows.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, everyone. I am Asif Ali, and I will be moderating this webinar along with my other Plantae Fellows. The topic of today's webinar is dealing with rejection and finding motivation during a slow patch in your research. As you know, many of us, whether students or early career researchers, have faced rejections in various forms, like articles, fellowships, job application, travel grants, and even more. And these experiences can often lead to disappointment and mental stress. To address the same narrative, I am excited to share that today we are having amazing speakers in the lineup and who will be sharing their pro tips on how to find motivation from such setbacks. And additionally, they will discuss their personal experiences, highlighting how they transformed their feedback from rejections into valuable opportunities for growth in their research and career. Now, without further ado, let me move to my next section, which are our guest speaker. And our guest speakers are Dr. Daniel Ofuso, who is actually research scientist at Biotechnology and Nuclear Agriculture Research Institute at Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. And our second speaker is Dr. Preetha Kundo, who is a postdoctoral researcher associate in the entomology department at University of Nebraska, Lincoln. And for the outline of today's webinar would be the moderator introductions, followed by the speaker introduction. And then we will have presentations from both of our speakers. And then at last, we will have Q&A session. And attendees can type your question into Q&A answer question and answer box during the Q&A session. And at the last, we will have the concluding remarks. Next slide, please. Yeah, for today, moderators, our first moderator is Nivedita Priyadarshini, who is actually postdoctoral fellow at University of Freiburg, Germany. And Nivedita is actually algal biologist, and she is passionate to turn the world into petri dishes. And she has also passion to show the world that green is the real powerhouse of the world. And then myself, my name is Asif Ali, and I am doing my second postdoc from Sichuan Agriculture University. And my research focuses on the biochemistry and molecular biology involved in the reproductive development of crop plants. And off the lab, I also do YouTube for my video tutorials. And I am also holding plant postdoc engagement team head leadership in the plant postdoc organization. Next slide, please. And then we have Dennis Buffer Awa, who is actually Plantae editor. And he holds MPhil in nuclear agriculture from University of Ghana. And he has also a passion to communicate for the special children who are into the scientific innovations. And Dennis is also skilled DJ and MC and voiceover artist. Then we have Tamer Avishalom, who is actually doctoral student at University of Toronto, Canada. And Tamer is a PhD student in the Department of Cell and System Biology. And her research focuses on the understanding of virulence factor required for the plant pathogen to invade their host. And now, without further ado, I will turn to my other Plantae Fellow, Dennis. Dennis, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Asif. So we'll be doing an introduction of our speakers, and so we can get to know them. Our very first speaker is Dr. Daniel Osei-Ofosu, and he's a research scientist at the Biotechnology and Nuclear Agriculture Research Institute of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. He also doubles as the Ghana Country Coordinator of the Program for Biosafety Systems, which is managed by the International Food Policy Research Institute. His major interest is in development and sustenance of good agricultural systems, and his primary research focuses on the use of innovative systems, including irradiation in the post-harvest handling of agricultural produce, and also on biotechnology and biosafety. He is motivated by the fact that biotechnology and the production of genetically modified organisms hold a great deal of prospect for the poor rural farmers, who are the main backbone of Ghana's economy, and also to increase their income, reduce dependence on pesticide, ensure efficient land usage, increase the nutritional value of crops they grow, and also better prepare them to withstand the effects of climate change. And you can find him on social media, especially on X, at SaproJNR. So, Dr. Ofosu, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dennis and the team, and I'm glad to be here. I'm going to share with you my experience as being a scientist for the last 18 years. And I'm always motivated by a quote by a very great son of Africa, Nelson Madiba Mandela, who said that after climbing one hill, one only finds that there are very many more hills to climb. I'm sure most of us who are on this webinar started school, and after high school, you feel, okay, I need to go to the university, I need to learn, I need to do probably science. And after you do your science, then you ask yourself, what next? And so this is going to give you an idea of what I looked at post university. I started my research journey as a research assistant in 2007. And then I progressed to become a trainee research scientist, and then on to become an assistant research scientist. And I'm now a research scientist. But in that time, it took me 5 years before I found my name on a publication. And I'm sure a lot of us probably face that or would face that going for it. You end up being the one who does most of the work, but your name never really ends up on the final paper, probably because you're so low down the pecking order. But I didn't relent on my efforts to contribute to science. I played a background role for a lot of research work within the 5 years that I never found my name on any publication. And my first publication was an interesting one on cowpea, and I've been involved with cowpea for a very long time in my research life. Let me tell you the reality of being in this space. There are a lot of setbacks, and the setbacks are not at just one stage. It's from the beginning to the end of your research. I remember when I first started, I started writing out proposals for grants. It took a long time before I got my first ever grant, a very long time. And then coming from the part of Africa where I carry out most of my research, I had very little access to a lot of the modern equipment at the time. Today, I look at them and they're still very old, but it was very difficult getting access to those modern equipment. And because you're making do with what you have, you would write papers and you send to the well-known journals, and they would tell you that your equipment or your methodology is quite old. For you, that's the most modern equipment you could find to do your work, but it ends up that it's probably about 10 or 15 years old equipment that you are using. And then in the institution I find myself, we have a lot of different scientists. For those of us in the plant sciences, it's always difficult when you want to compete with those in the physical sciences, because it takes a long time for us to come up with findings from our research. So within 3, 4, or 5 years, sometimes when you are on one particular area, your colleagues in the other fields are doing or seemingly to be doing well. And then being a plant scientist, you have an idea when you go into the lab and you start, but you realize that not all ends well. That you have to deal with all these contaminations and not getting the right results that you're looking at the end. And then when you're done, you put together your thoughts, right? A beautiful manuscript in your mind's eye with your team, and then you send it out to journals. If you're lucky, they would send a very beautiful note and say that they're oversubscribed or they have too many publications, when in reality what they are saying is that you don't meet our quality. We feel that your quality is below our standard, but it should not be a dent in your motivation to contribute to society. It puts a lot of pressure on you, especially when you are an early career scientist. In institutions where we are on contract, you have a fixed term, and you have to meet your targets within that fixed term. So it puts a lot of pressure on you. It puts a lot of pressure on your mental ability to produce the best for yourself. Now, what I've come to realize is that bad days don't last forever, and bad days are not avoidable in our line of work. So your bad day could be a rejected manuscript, your failed experiment, a grant not winning a particular grant, or sometimes you even win the grant, but there's a delay in putting the resources at your disposal. But you need to remind yourself that this bad day is not forever, and it should not define your career or capability as a scientist. Every scientist, no matter how successful they are, has passed through this. A couple of years ago, I was sharing with a few colleagues about research works that have won the Nobel Prizes. Some of them were rejected by very notable papers or journals. But today we hail them as groundbreaking research work. So it doesn't matter what rejection you get right now. You should know that your focus is to impact society positively through the research that you are doing. And so whatever setback you're facing today should propel you to be able to provide something better for the future. And to do this, you need to have the growth mindset. You need to understand that no can be a very good step towards a stronger yes in the future. Growing up, we had a game we used to play. I'm sure a lot of us have that, where you have a sling and you want to project something from it. If you pull the sling back just a little, you go very short distance, but the further back you go, the bigger the recoil. So the same way with research, the further back it seems you're going, is just to propel you to the next phase of your contribution to society's well-being. So you need to know that when these setbacks come, you adopt it, okay? Then you reflect, what did I do? Where did I go wrong? And then you learn. And after learning, you need to learn to adapt. And one thing we have not been doing, or I've realized in my line of work, is that we are looking for the big win when we can be celebrating small wins. So the small win gives you that encouragement to continue to do your research. And then always have the big picture at the back of your mind, that you are not there to just win grants or conduct research or have 1,000 publications, but that you are there to contribute to knowledge, you're there to contribute to society, and you're there to make our world a better place for all of us. Now, in this growth mindset, let me share my experience with you. When you face the worst of patches, go to your books, go to articles, look out for winning proposals. What did they write differently that you don't have? And then build a good support network. A lot of times we don't work with mentors. And so a lot of us who start out feel we are able to do it on our own, but sometimes you need guidance. Post your academic work, you need someone who has seen it, done it, to be able to guide you. And then you need to build a good team around yourself, or work in a good team. So your lab mates, develop a good working relationship with them. And you can share your experiences with colleagues who may have faced similar challenges and see how they have been able to come out of it. And then in the wait period, in those last periods, build your skill through online courses, workshops, webinars. It doesn't hurt to put in money to learn how to write winning proposals. It doesn't hurt to go and learn how to use a new equipment. It doesn't hurt to take a step back and do a postdoc. You may be head of a lab at a point, but you can do a postdoc and learn new skills in different labs. And you can also, or these can help you develop new skills such as winning proposals for us in the plant sciences, bioinformatics, or even public speaking. Sometimes you realize that you need to be able to project your message well to your audience, to be able to win them on your side. And so these are programs that you need to learn whilst you are in that last period. And as much as possible, try to stay physically and mentally healthy. Don't seclude yourself. Don't make yourself in a small pigeonhole somewhere and say, I want to make it. But you need to make sure that you are mentally strong, have a good social network, still fraternize with friends, enjoy whatever makes you happy in your down times. Thank you very much. I'm sharing with you pictures when I started out up there, a very young man, probably tired after a few days in the lab. And then this is one of my most recent pictures in the lab. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ofosu. And I hope I'm clear enough to introduce our next speaker. And our next speaker is in the person of Preetha Kundu. Now, she completed her bachelor's and master's in botany with specialization in advanced cell biology from University of Calcutta in India in 2012 and 2014, respectively. And she had her postgraduate at Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Kolkata in India, and specialized in molecular plant pathology, where she focused on unraveling the role of defense phytohormones and its modulators in wheat fungal pathogenesis. Now, she followed a PhD with a PhD and shifted from plant pathogens to insects and started delving deeper into understanding the role of calcium nucleotide-gated channels and their regulators upon pest attack in plants at the National Institute of Plant Genome Research, New Delhi. She also worked with Dr. Vandasari in 2019. Currently, she is recruited as a postdoctoral research associate in entomology department at University of Nebraska-Lincoln, with Professor Joe Louise working on understanding and delineating the mysteries of molecular plant-insect interaction, with specific interest in unraveling the regulators of phenyl propanoid pathways. And life outside academia, she loves food and loves to travel. And you can find her on social media, especially X, Preetha Kundu 91. So over to you, Preetha.
Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thanks, Dennis, for this wonderful introduction. So I would first of all like to thank the Plantae community for this opportunity to speak on this very sensitive topic. And a very good morning, afternoon, evening to all the members, all the attendees of the webinar today, because I know people are there from all across the globe. So as you know, as Daniel has already started the webinar, with the topic of how we deal with rejection every single day. First of all, I would like to let you know what will be the outline of my talk today. So I will be giving you an idea of how to deal with rejections, how it is generally recommended that you can fight against rejections. Followed by that, as I am one of the speakers, so I would like to let you know what has been my research journey till date. It's still going on. And further, I will downstream let you know how I deal with rejections, what I follow, what I do. With that, I would like to let you know what are the different type of rejections that we get. As Daniel has already mentioned that yes, there are grant rejections, but it starts right from the day when you start your academic career, and then it goes on, I think, forever. So we all face rejections at every step of our career. Don't think that once you become a faculty or once you get a job, your rejection story ends there. Rather, I would say a bigger list you can see that it starts with as you advance in your career. So early career, there are a lot of PhD level entrance examinations that we appear for, and then we do not get it, or we get it after so many chances, so many hits. And then once we get into the PhD, the story starts there of so many rejections when you write, when you work day and night and maybe years for the papers, and then the papers get rejected. But then again, sometime we keep the hope alive that the papers will get accepted, and that keeps us moving on. So there are several fellowships like student fellowship, travel award applications that we write every time when we start our PhD, at the mid-career level, and then we get rejected. Down the line, when we are in the process of getting our PhD defense done, we start applying for postdoctoral fellowships. That's again a level higher, and you try to apply for postdoctoral fellowships all across the globe, maybe because we all are interested to work internationally. And then there is a huge level of rejections happening there, and that breaks you down sometimes. Yes. And then finally, which I am there in this step, is the faculty job applications. So yes, there is again so many rejections, so many times you don't even hear back from them. So that's another level of setback, but you have to move on. So how it works, how it happens, and how do we do? So let's go and get that. So before knowing how to deal with rejection, I would give you an idea of what are the different stages of rejection, which I feel we should acknowledge. First of all is denial, right? When we hear back that you are rejected and your application is not accepted, so we try sort of, why? Why did they deny me? I'm the best. I did give my best. Why is there a denial? What happened? What might be the reason? They cannot deny me. So there is some problem, right? So that denial is the first step where you cannot accept that, yes, you have been rejected or your application has been rejected. There is more to work on it. Once you try to understand that, yes, you have been denied, there is a huge phase of angriness, right? You are angry that why did they not accept my application? Because I gave my best, and why did it not occur? Once you get that phase through, you move to bargaining. You try thinking to some extent, maybe if had I done this, I would have done better. Or should I have done this? Or should I have not done that? So that's the bargaining thing that starts at the third phase of rejection. And followed by that comes the depression, right? When you don't get it through and you try to find out, oh, these are where the gaps, this might have been the gaps. So you start feeling that I could have done this, and then you get depressed, right? That happens. And we all are social human beings. So I cannot say that, no, you cannot feel bad. We all feel bad. I myself feel bad with every rejections, and I know you all feel bad, devastated after every application that does not pass through. It happens. So there is a stage of depression. And then finally, you come to the acceptance stage. Finally, you accepted that, yes, there are rejections. Every application cannot be accepted, and you have been rejected. So you finally accept it. And these are the different stages of rejection that lets you understand or soothe in the rejection that has happened for any application that you do, right? So these are different 5 stages, and it happens, it will happen, it is normal. We are all human beings. But then what is more important is, after this rejection, you have to keep moving on. You have to move on, you have to go on, because life cannot stop. The rejection cannot stop you, it should not stop you. And now I would like to highlight how is it recommended to move on. How do we do that? For that, first of all, okay, it's important that you acknowledge your feelings. Don't try to hide away from your feelings. Don't try to fly away, because we all do feel bad, right? Express the feeling, acknowledge your feelings that I felt bad. I did work so much for this. I worked for months. For people, so we work for years, and then it gets rejected. It happens. But it can happen. It happens to everybody. It not only to me, it's not personal. Don't take it as a personal loss, and acknowledge the feelings. Next is most important is to reflect on the experience. What I feel is it's very important to look back and see what is there. What did you do and how did you do? If you have invested your years in a paper, how did you do that? If you have invested months in a grant, how did you do that? And what did you do? What was the course of action? It's important for us to sometimes sit back and see what we have done, how we have done over the time. And then once you do that, you will try to practice self-compassion. Because through that process, you will try to feel what you have done, what you have given, and you have not done a bad job, believe me. Everybody is working, everybody is trying to get success, everybody is working day and night. I believe that. We all are here to survive. In order to survive, you have to do that. You are doing it. And if you reflect it, if you feel it, that you have done the hard work, you have done the good job, you will be self-compassion. You will be kind to yourself. You will understand that, no, I have done something. I have done a good job. I have to do more. So in that process, you will be kind to yourself and kind to the people who are near you, who have rejected you. Maybe at this point, you will understand that they have not done a bad job. Might be they have tried to find out what are my shortcomings, and they are trying to point out that and trying to uplift me more high. With that, when you understand that, you will engage yourself in self-care. Why self-care is important, I believe, is that it gives you the energy to come back. After every rejection, as I said, we all get depressed, but it's important for us to come back and start again from zero, or maybe to bring it more up. As Daniel already said, with grant applications, it becomes so tough. And then you need to again keep on working. For that, you need energy. And for that, it's important that you give something to yourself. And that comes up with doing anything that gives you happiness. If it's about a jogging, if it's about a short walk, if it's about gym, if it's about painting, spending some time with your pets, do it. Do for half an hour, at least I would suggest every day in your career. It's not going to devastate anything on your career. It's not going to jeopardize your academic career. Rather, it's going to uplift you and your time will be more productive. That is what I have learned over the years. Do something. If you like traveling, prepare a schedule, travel, but come back with higher energy and start working again. With the same application that has been rejected, again, you have to start from zero and you have to get it passed through. You will do that. When you engage in self-care, alongside, you have to be realistic. If you were working on a project, you have to set realistic goals. So what I have done initially, when I started, much before in this career, I used to get perplexed. I had a list of works and then I used to think, what should I do? I have 10 works and it's all in my mind. I have to do that. I have to do that. I used to get perplexed and I did not know what to do. So with time, what I felt, it's important to write down what you have in your to-do list and set a realistic goal for that. Set a timeline, set a deadline for yourself. And if you cannot do that by yourself, go to your mentor. Your mentor is there to help you out, and he or she should be able to help you out because that's his or her job. He will help you out to prioritize things, to let you know what should be done and what should not, and what should be done later in this week or later in this month. That's how you prioritize your things. And once you go to that step, you will focus on your strength and accomplishments. It's important. It's very important to focus on your strength. What we do is we always feel, oh, we are short in this. We have to work more on this. We might be doing this less. We are not doing that. It's always negative things that we think about ourselves, which I feel is important that you focus on your strength and try to highlight them. If you're good in presentation, do more do that. Do what makes you feel more happy. That's very important. And finally, maintain. It's very important to be in this negative world. Everybody will be seeing you cannot perform this. Maybe this is not happening. That's not going to happen. But no, believe in yourself. Be positive. Have a positive social environment alongside yours. And then what I would say is it's important for you to practice mindfulness. Mindfully take the job. Be always make sure that you are doing this and you are doing this on time with dedication. Don't be involved in too much chaos and move forward. With this, I would like to say that it's very important for all of us to seek support. What I have said before, it's important that we do seek support from our community and find out if we are doing the right thing in the right way. And I believe that it's not easy for us to open up to everybody. Because for me personally, what I feel that I cannot, or it's maybe my fault, that make that connection with everybody. It's some particular type of people with which our frequency matches, and then we can open up fully. If that has happened, you open up and you tell them that this is my problem. I have been doing it this way. Can you help me out to know where are my shortcomings? I think that is very important to help you to reflect on yourself and then move further forward. With this, I would like to say that finally, the most important point is to embrace new opportunities. So with new opportunities, like if you get rejected with this application, go for another application. If you get rejected today with this paper, take this paper forward and apply, like submit it in another journal or like improve it however way you want to. And if you follow this particular steps, I feel that it does happen wonders, and you will see finally that it's working and you can do wonders. You will start believing in yourself. That's what I have seen over the years. With this, I would like to give you a short introduction of my research journey. So when I was preparing the slide, I found that I have started, it's been 15 years. In 2009, I started my bachelor's in botany from Presidency College, Kolkata in India. Followed by that, I did my master's in 2012 from Balogun Science College, again, Calcutta University with Dr. Rita Kundu with specialization in advanced cell biology. And then after a gap of 6 months from 2014, from 2015, I started my PhD at Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Kolkata, ISER Kolkata. With that, I got the wonderful opportunity to collaborate with Dr. Axel Meithofer from Max Planck Institute for Chemical Ecology, MPIC Jena, where I was there for 3 months for a collaborative project. And then I finally defended my PhD in 2019. Followed by that, I started my first postdoc in the plant insect calcium signaling biology with Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi Vadasiri at NIPGR New Delhi, which I ended in 2022. And since March of that year, I'm working with Dr. Joe Louise at University of Nebraska, Lincoln. And here I'm working again on molecular plant insect interaction lab. So today I am here in 2024, and I'm further looking forward to several job applications. And if you see with the rejection list, you can see that starting from my master's in botany, where I attempted with if you are from India, you will know CSIR net. So I attempted thrice and I got rejected. I got the LS, but not the JRF thing. And then several entrance exams I applied, I did not get. In the PhD, I applied for several travel awards, SERB and so on, and I did not get it. I applied at the final stage for several international postdoctoral fellowships, but I did not get it. I would say that you have to make, again, realistic goals. When I did defend, I was not in a good shape with my publications. I had only 2 co-author publications. With that, if you try to get into the top-notch institutes, that can be a setback. I'm not saying you will not do it, you cannot get it, but try to reflect on your experience, on your capabilities, on your achievements, and set something realistic goals that will help you from getting hurt in a bad way. So with that, I got a wonderful chance to work with Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi Vadasiri, where I have been with her for more than 2 years. It's quite next to 3 years. I applied for several postdoctoral fellowships with her, but it was not possible to get that accepted at the same time. But I got her support in a wonderful way in which she helped me with the Institute Fellowship. That worked, and I learned a lot. With that, I wanted to move on for my international postdoc, and then I got a call from Dr. Joe Louise, and successfully I'm working here. I'm applying for several postdoctoral fellowships and job applications at the same time, and it's still waiting. So I'm in the process. Maybe sometime near future, I will be able to share with you my story, how I will pass through this step as well. So with this, what I feel is the most important thing to be as perseverance. If you persevere, if you think that, yes, I have to keep on doing it, you will do it. You have to have a positive experience, a positive outlook, a positive community. And every time you have to reflect on your experience, where you were yesterday, where you are today, and where you want to be tomorrow. With that, I would like to end up this slide with this wonderful quote from the very popular Bible teacher, Derek Prince, who says, "We can put up with a wounded body, but a wounded spirit is an unbearable affliction." Believe me, it is. If you're wounded physically, but have a spirit held high to fly again, you will do well. But if you have a spirit which says that, no, I'm done, I'm gone, I'm tired, and I cannot do this anymore, then nobody will be able to help you out. So please, please don't give up. When you feel low, speak to somebody, speak to your support system, get up, don't get dejected. Keep a positive spirit every time you get rejected, because we all get rejected. And with that, I would like to say that this is a very a wonderful quote from Sunil. Sunil, I think, has been associated with Plantae, and I recently met him in a plant science retreat which was conducted by UNL PSI. He's an assistant professor at UC Riverside, and he said, "I cannot agree more to this." What he said is, where you are and whom you associate with defines who you become. It's very important. Why? Because whatever I have said you that is required to move on will only be possible if you have a good support system. I have been through a dejected phase in my PhD and at several steps in my academic career. Have I had not the support that I have got from this community and beyond, it would not have been possible for me to sit here today and to give this talk. It's not possible, believe me. So you need a support system. You need a support system whom you can go to, whom you can speak to, and who can guide you in the right way, in the right time, in the right direction. That's very important. So try to seek people. Like over here, people just tell that go for networking. Initially, I never understood what is the meaning of networking and why do you need it at all. There is an important reason why you need networking. That's the important thing, to have a network, a good network, to know what's happening in your surrounding, who is doing what. To have an awareness, it's very important to go to the right place, to be with the right people, to know what is right and what is wrong. For you to be in the right place, it's important, believe me. So the key points that I would like to consider, I would like to suggest to all the young members of this Plantae community who are starting either their master's, their undergrad, or their PhD, or their postdoc, whatever it is, choose a mentor or supervisor wisely. I believe that that's the most important point that will help you to be in the right track, in the right way. They will be guiding you, because we as beginners, or we as the followers of this path, it's important for us to have a good idol. It's important for us to know what will work, what will not work. You have to know that. For that, it's important to get that guidance from your supervisor. You have to have that good chemistry with your supervisor, who can tell you that do this. If you fail, I am there for you. So that is what is important. That is what makes you give the support. And that is what you need when you fall down, to get up again and start again. So with that, the second point I would say is, be always vocal. Be careful of what's happening around you. If it's wrong, try to say that it's wrong. I cannot take it. I will not be able to do this. This is not done by me. And be vigilant of what's happening around. You should be aware of your surroundings. You should be outspoken. You should be able to say what you want to say. If your voice is not heard, you have to be kind. You have to be kind enough to tell it in a way that they hear you. And if not, that's not good way. And finally, I would ask you to be advocative, to take an opinion, to take a step. You have to take a side. If there are two sides, you have to know what works for you, what is good for you, and you should be able to say in a respectful way that, yes, this is the one that I want, and this is the thing that I don't want, and it will not work for me. So I think all these points are very important. As a beginner, if I look back 15 years back, I feel that I have not been understandable or quite wise in doing all this, but I would suggest every one of you to be in the process of adapting this, because we may not be. As scientists, we are mostly introvert, I would say. We don't talk much. That's a very good, because we always think much. What can we do more for our research? Mostly, that's another characteristic, and I'm not asking you to change your characteristic, but the most important thing is you have to let people know if you are facing, or if you are going through some difficulty, if you are trying to get out of something, then only people will know that you are having this problem, and people will try to help you out. Otherwise, it's not possible for anybody unless and until you speak up. With that, I would like to say that yes, we all are human beings. We all get tired. We have been working continuously. So whenever I get tired, whenever I get down, I try to preach this mantra from the great monk, Swami Vivekananda. You might have already heard about him. And he says, to succeed, you must have tremendous perseverance, tremendous will. I will drink the ocean, says the persevering soul. At my will, mountains will crumble up. Have that sort of energy, that sort of will, work hard, and you will reach the goal. And I fully believe that you have to keep on working. So the most important mantra, I believe, is to move on, is to go on. But for going on, you have to know the right direction. And for that, you need the right support. That's what I feel. With that, I would like to acknowledge for whom I am sitting here today. I'm here today. I would like to thank all the members of my PhD defense committee, without whom it would not have been possible for me to get a degree. And then I would like to thank Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi Vadasuri for giving me the wonderful opportunity to work with her and to learn a lot of molecular biology work from her lab and her crew. It has been a wonderful, exhilarating experience to work with her at NIPH here. Currently, I'm with Dr. Joel Lewis and his group, and that has been another wonderful opportunity for me to learn beyond the postdoctoral research work, what happens and how you can grow yourself in multiple dimensions. With this, if you see, here are some of my pictures. So the first one is from my PhD work in the wheat field, from the fields of Murshidabad in West Bengal, India. Followed by that, I did work on Arabidopsis. Currently, I'm working with sorghum at Joe Lewis's lab. And if you feel like you want to connect with me anytime, if you want to speak to me, I'm there for you anytime. I'm there in Twitter, I'm there in LinkedIn, and you can also see me at Google Scholar. With that, I would like to thank you all for patiently listening to me, for giving me this opportunity, and I would like to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Preetha. And just like Dr. Ofosu's, this presentation of yours is very insightful, running us through the broad arena of academic rejections, how we're supposed to deal with rejections amidst your own journey. Thank you so much. What actually resonated with me is we shouldn't give up. I'll turn over to Tamar now.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to be moderating the Q&A section. I'd just like to echo Dennis by first thanking both of our speakers for their wonderful presentations. I know I learned a lot about how to persevere through rejections, and I know a lot of these stories have really resonated with my own experience. Just a little bit about the Q&A. So feel free to add your questions into the Q&A on the bottom of our Zoom panel. You can add questions anonymously, and we'll try to get through as many questions as possible. So I'll start just with the first question. Our first question from the audience is, do you recommend taking a break from the lab if something is not helping in moving ahead? Or do you continue even with small steps to ensure continuity of your PhD? And I'm inviting both of our speakers to just step in and answer if they have any insights on these questions.
Yeah, I might take, up this one. So thank you, Daniel. So I believe personally that yes, taking a break is important. If you feel sometimes that you are devastated, you cannot take it anymore, I would recommend you not to go to that stage where you feel the need to get out of the lab and take a break. That means it has gone to a very quite like a deep step inside. But if that happens, it's very much recommendable to take a break and then come back and start with a much higher motivated energy. Yeah, Daniel.
Yes, so I was going to say the same thing. I would say that take a break, take a step back, do what you love to do, but as much as possible, don't give up. And don't let the break be too long, because sometimes when you take a very long break, you end up losing your train of thought or your motivation. And so when you get back, don't be looking at a huge jump. You're taking the small steps. So it's a day at a time, but the break is very necessary. Even if you don't have setbacks, breaks from the lab, I recommend that.
Thank you. So we'll take another question from the audience. So this one probably resonates with a lot of us, just having come out of the pandemic. So this question is asking, how is the gap full of rejections during the pandemic seen by peers in the scientific community?
Maybe Frida, you can start or come back.
Yeah. So yeah, I know we all had a bad time during the COVID situation, which I would say, yes, because of what, or maybe because of my personal research record, I could see that it took a while for me to get to know the community more because I was not able to attend several conferences that were happening, but it got canceled at that time. So I could not grow up my network at that scale had it not been there. But then I don't see it as a personal loss because it happened to everybody, right? It not only affected me, it affected all the people across the globe. It's not even national, it's international, it's globally there. So don't take it personally. If it happened for everybody. And it happened for a cause. We don't know whether good or bad, but try to take it in a positive way that it might have done something positive for you. It gave you some time, I feel it, to be with my family. I went back and I stayed for 2 months with my family, which would never have happened. So I take that thing positive, and I wrote a review article at that time. So all these things, I take it as a positive, what positive things I have done had that not been there. So I believe that yes, the COVID situation had affected everybody. It had affected everybody's career, but at the end of the day, it was not me alone. It was everybody. So you have to deal with it.
I have very little to add. I'd say that COVID was a good reset for a lot of people who had probably been spending too much time in the lab. And so it was a good reset for all of us. For me personally, I had quite a number of unfinished publications. So I did some work on that in that period. I spent a lot of time with my family, but it was not a real setback. It was for me, I would say it was a reset for us in the scientific world. And it also brought us to the fore. If research had not been ongoing since the first SARS incident, we would not have been able to get the progress we got in that very short time. And so it brought science and research to the fore. Back home in Ghana, for the first time on a daily basis, newspapers, radio stations, TV stations were reaching out to scientists to hear our views about what was going on. And so it gave us some leverage to be able to show our work to people. And in Ghana, it's resulted in the government setting up a new institution to carry out research on infectious diseases. So it was a good reset. It brought us to the fore, and I think no scientist should ever feel bad for having COVID come around.
Thank you. Those are some very insightful answers to this question. We have another question that has to do with applying to master's and PhD programs. So this attendee is asking that they've been applying to some master's and PhD programs, but most require having a publication. Is there any way to go about this? Any suggestions you would be able to add to this question, please?
Okay, let me take this first. I think I've put you on the spot for a long time. So back home in Ghana, we have a system where after your first degree, you do a national service. And every year I tell my national service persons to come up with something that they can work on, and so I can mentor them to be able to publish. Unfortunately, a lot of us at that young age do not see how that affects us going forward. But it should not be a big issue. I know a lot of us in the sciences, at least in our final years, we end up doing some research with our supervisors or academic mentors. And so you can go back to them and try to polish up what you have and see if it can be published. You may not be able to put it in Nature, but you can put out those thoughts of a young scientist in journals that are willing to take basic research by very young people. And it should not be the reason you don't apply. There are some masters and PhDs that do not require you to have had some publication, but if you show enough motivation, I'm sure you can be able to get into a master's or a PhD program. Right. Over to you, Prita.
Yeah, I support fully what Daniel suggested, and I think, yes, you can do it. Just keep a positive mood on, keep working, keep on getting suggestions from people. It's important. Sometimes we cannot reflect on, we think that we have done 110%. Why it's not getting accepted, right? That happens. But so for that, it's important that you consult with somebody higher to you or your colleagues, speak to them, show them that this is it. Can you tell me, can you show me where are my shortcomings? How can I improve it? If you can do that, I think you will obviously succeed. Yeah.
Perfect. So switching gears a little bit. So this attendee is in a position where they can't do research because they're not in a tenure track position, and currently they're working in an environment limited to teaching. And they're wondering how to cope with like not being able to do research and having to teach.
Maybe I can take this one. So what I feel is, if you know, and by knowingly, if you are involved in this type of profession where you cannot do your research, I think you knew it from before and you should have been able to accept it. Because I know there are some positions where you cannot do your research, where you can only teach, or where you can only do research and no teaching, or you can do 30-40, 60-40, or 50-50. So I feel if you are not satisfied at present with what you are doing, I think you have to look for other options and then find out where you can be satisfied, or what you want to do, you can, right? Because if you want to be in these positions, you have taken it voluntarily. Nobody has forced you, I believe, to take this. And then you have to take the step forward to do what you want to do. Yeah, if Daniel has something to add.
Okay, so I have not been in that position before, but what I can say is that you should not be limited because you're not in the tenure track. You can apply to institutions to okay, let me use the Ghana experience.
Oh, I think you're muted, Daniel. Sorry.
Sorry. So yes, I've not been in that situation before, but what I have experienced is that from time to time we have young people who are enthusiastic to join our institution, coming to do internships. So you may not be in a tenure track, but you can apply to labs to assist. I actually started my research career, like I said, as a research assistant. And so you're not there probably leading the research, but you're going to be able to learn from being part of a lab. And then you can put your ideas to the head of the lab if you have any research in mind. And so you should not be bothered because you're not in a tenure track or you're not employed in a research institution. The opportunities available for you to be able to able to do your research or contribute to research in some way or the other.
Thank you so much for your answers to this hard question. And with that, that brings us to the end of our seminar. It's now noon Eastern time. And I just want to do another, oh, wait, maybe we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. I
think we could do one more.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, let me pull up another question. So this last question is coming from another attendee that they've read about, they've read on like X about graduate students in kind of difficult relationships in their lab or with their supervisors. They're wondering, in this case, if someone finds themselves in this kind of position, is it possible to switch, like, is it better to like switch labs or programs to help you like move forward in like rejection, or is there a way to deal with this kind of difficult situation?
Well, it's an interesting question. My wife is on, and I'm sure if I don't talk about this, she's gonna have my neck for it. So yes, you can have difficult situations with your supervisors or head of labs. Let me use my own example. For my PhD, it took me 7 years. I was done with my research by the 3rd year. I was done with my write-up by the 4th year. It took 7 years to graduate. And it takes perseverance sometimes. But if you're ever faced with a challenge like that and you're still in a lab, then my advice is to leave the lab. The worst thing that can happen to you as a researcher, whether you're established or you're a beginner, is to be in a toxic environment, because it will weigh down on you physically, it will weigh down on you mentally, and it would extend to your family. I remember the number of times I would come home and tell my wife, you know what, I think I don't need this in my life. I don't need this pressure. And so it affects you. And so my advice is look for a different lab, look for a lab that would appreciate your contribution to science, because staying in a toxic lab, I don't see how you can effectively progress in a lab like that. And if you're a graduate student, you can always talk to your faculty advisors, especially if your supervisors or advisors are not very friendly or approachable, or do not see you for the science that you want to do. I would recommend that you talk to somebody who can talk to them and get you some help in that regard.
Yeah, and I cannot agree more with Daniel. It's completely without hesitation, you should take a call on your academic career, because it's very important. Believe me, the person or the supervisor, the PhD supervisor mostly with whom you work, is going to be there for you forever. You need him or her support in every step of your life, and you need the direction, the guidance from him or her. And if that is toxic for you, where from will you learn? How will you learn? How will you grow? That's not going to work. You have to understand this at the very first step, to understand whether it's a good environment, it's a healthy environment that helps you to flourish, or it's a toxic environment that says that you're good for nothing and you can do nothing, nothing will happen to you, and you just go down and down and down every day. You go down physically, you go down mentally, you stop talking to your friends, you stop talking to your community, your family friend goes far apart, and everything falls down. So you have to understand it, what is good for you. You have to take a step, because at the end, it's your life. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have one last question, maybe a quick answer, but this attendee is asking if during their PhD, if they haven't done advanced work, or if they haven't been able to publish a lot, if they still have the right to apply to further positions, or like postdoc or further research positions after that.
Daniel, you can go forward. Yeah, you can.
So you are in it now, so maybe you can talk about it, and then I'll check it.
So what I felt through my journey is, yes, there can be setbacks. There can be real situations where you could not do what you wanted to do. But obviously, if you want, you can make it happen. Believe in yourself, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, and keep trying, keep speaking to people, keep making that connections, keep asking people for help, and try. If you want, you can do it. Believe in yourself. And even if you think that, yes, you could not do this, but the next opportunity can come, which can bring you those with those skill set. It happened with me. I believe it can happen with everybody. If you want, you can do it. Yeah. Daniel.
So I have seen opportunities that exist for people who may not have done advanced work during their PhDs. Sometimes it's to work with new equipment, and that's why I'll recommend that if you are done with a PhD, as much as possible, try to apply for postdocs, because some postdocs will provide you with that opportunity to be able to work with these advanced equipment. For those of us in third world countries, let me say developing countries, it's always an issue where you may not have access to the most modern equipment, and so you may not be able to publish in the Frontiers or the Nature or the other big journals, but it should not stop you for applying for further research posts, whether in your country or outside the country, because some of these will provide you the opportunity to gain the meaningful experience that you require. Not everybody is on the same footing, and that's what I've come to see. And so some recruiters for postdocs or for lab assistants will not really bother themselves if you have a wealth of experience. What they are looking for is a determination to be able to contribute positively to their labs. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I just wanted to thank again our two speakers for taking the time to come and present about their research paths. I'm sure you can connect with the speakers via their different social media or their different contact information. I also want to just thank my fellow Plantae Fellows that were so crucial in organizing and putting on this webinar today. and also to Jason for helping us organize. And with that, I think we'll close today's webinar.
Thank you, everyone. Again, this webinar is recorded, and recording will be made available to the Plantae channel. Again, a big thank you to everyone involved, and I hope everyone have a great weekend, and we hope to see you on the next Plantae webinar. Have a good one, everyone.